It's Sunday here in the Adams house. We usually cook on Sundays, but during the pandemic, it's been scaled back quite a bit. I was asked by the library and the 4-H group to do a cooking show, if you will, and we're going to abbreviate this because we don't need to be bored with a lot of dumping this and dumping that. So times are a little bit different nowadays, and it's a little bit tougher, so we decided we'd do something sweet. So, to make everybody feel better, we're doing Betsy Elliott's recipe from 4-H cookbook from 1977. Most of you weren't born then, some of your parents weren't born then. If you've got this cookbook, you either bought it in an antique shop or somebody's dead gave it to you. So anyway, we'll start through the recipe right quick. We bought a pie crust. I suggest the ones that you roll out and not the ones in the tin with the frozen ones. They're not quite as good. So buy those, Pillsbury I think does one, then the store brand's fine. Do that, go by the instructions, you end up with something that looks like that. I'll run through the ingredients right quick. Oh, by the way, this is Miss Simone, and Miss Redding stepped right out of the picture. And we have one shy one, Mr. Ezra, who chooses not to take part. So what we have here is we have 2½ cups of brown sugar. It doesn't matter whether it's light or dark. 9 teaspoons of flour, which we don't have yet. We need to do that. Then we're going to use 3 cups of milk. 1/4 cup of salt, of course. I use 4 eggs. You separate them. The whites is what you do the meringue with, of course. If you cook it all, you know that. And then you use a teaspoon of vanilla. You mix it all together, and then you turn it on medium-high heat. If you've got an electric stove, I would turn it on about 6 to get it going. Maybe turn it up a little more, 6 or 7. And then you'll start stirring. Now we're going to stop here while we throw this together, and then we'll come back when the stirring of the pot finishes, and you'll see what you do. Now when we do that, I'll explain what you do with the eggs and the vanilla and all that at the end, and then we'll have a little segment on meringue. And today's a good dry day, sun shining. We've burned a brush pile, we've been feeding cattle, we're watching football. And what we'll do then is the meringue may turn out to be pretty good, let's hope, since the weather's dry. So we're going to stop here and we'll be back in a few minutes. We're about 15 minutes into a constant stir, which is a little bit annoying, but you have to do it. We have egg yolks here, and we're mixing some of the hot pie filling with the egg yolks, and I don't know why we do this, but that's the way I was taught by my grandmothers and my wife. So we dump the egg mixture, which is the yolks and a little bit of the pie filling together, back into the pie filling, constantly stirring. Then to make it a butterscotch pie instead of a brown sugar pie, you need to have butter. So we've got 4 tablespoons of butter ready to go. If you get a little on your hands, it won't matter. Okay, you stir that in. It's starting to thicken up pretty good by now. We're about still about 18, 20 minutes in. So if it takes that long, don't worry about it. It takes a while. Don't walk away from it. Stick with it. Put some music on or watch a football game or whatever. Make sure you stay with it. Then you throw a little vanilla in there, which all pies call for, and I don't know why, but they do. Makes them better, I guess. I'm not going to question things that are good. All right, so we're starting to get thicker as we speak, and the consistency, as you can see, is beginning to be like a real thick pudding or a real thick gravy that you probably need to add water to, but that's what you want in the case of a pie. So we'll move some things out of the way, and we'll take our pie crust that's been done, And now this may look a little soupy to you, but it's not soupy at all, really. But it will firm up after it's in your pie crust. If you do your pie crust like an hour or so ahead of time, let it cool off, it helps some. So here we go. We're going to put the butterscotch pie. This is Betsy Elliott's recipe from a 1977 4-H cookbook. It's one that I've done for years and years, and everybody loves it. Never any of it is left over, so that's good. That's what every cook wants to know. So you get that smoothed out, and then you'll have some more on your spoon and some in the pan that you can partake of when it cools off, which is always good. Now we're going to break here, and we'll make the meringue next and stick it in the oven, and then we'll do the finished product and slice it open and have a piece. Thank you. 4 egg whites, when we separated our eggs for the pie, and you take your mixture and turn it on high, of course, or work your way up. You get the yolks or the whites going good, and then I usually add about, I don't know, 4 of these spoons, pretty good sized spoons, or 3 spoons of sugar. Some people use cream of tartar, I think, or tartar, or whatever it's called. This, since it's dry today, it's turned out to be pretty good, pretty fluffy. So what we'll do is we'll take the spoon and start to cover the pie. My assistants are close at hand. Hopefully one of these days they'll make this pie. It's an excellent recipe. Betsy Elliott would be proud, I would think, and the 4-H'ers from 1977 benefited from it. I think it was always a fundraiser. It was a good thing. I think they've done a few since then, but this is one of my favorites. So you can, scrape your bowl out pretty good, because meringue's not the best thing in the world to eat off the spoon. So you get it all fluffed up, and then you have your oven on about 400, and you got to keep an eye on this, or you'll have black meringue, burnt meringue. Put your timer on about, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes or so, or less, maybe 3, and kind of keep an eye on it, because it's one you don't walk away from. You don't go outside and come back. So that's what we'll do now, and we'll be back with the finished product. Okay, 400 degrees, 5 minutes. Make sure you don't walk away from it. Comes out looking like this. I'm going to go ahead and cut this. It sets up better if you wait a while, but my middle son and his children are here, and I want him to take a piece of it. So we're going to go ahead and take a chance and cut it. Maybe just a little bit on the runny side, but I don't think so. All right. Cut a generous piece. We were just talking about our weights. I weigh much more than he does. So here's your butterscotch pie. Looks like it came out pretty good. You can always dip in and get the rest of the crust and filling if you miss out, but if you set that on the table, you'll be more than glad to take a bite of it. And I appreciate Betsy Elliott's recipe, and I appreciate what you all are doing. Thank you.